So while we were working on this project, a really cute little fox was right outside. So Carl and I went outside and got a really cool video of the fox. Welcome to part 2 of my DIY couch video. Today we're going to be talking about how I made the slip covers and the cushion covers for the couch. It's a very simple sewing project. I think that anybody can do it. It's really not as hard as it seems. I have my cup of coffee because it's in the morning. And the lighting in this room is so much prettier right now. If you haven't watched part 1 of this video, go over on my channel and check it out. I go over how I made the actual cushions of the couch. So if that's something you're interested in and you want to know how a couch is made, if you want to make your own cushions or completely redo a whole couch, go check out that cushion video. If you're just looking to slip cover a couch, then welcome to this video. I'm gonna go over how I made the cushion covers. Now, I got some really cheap upholstery fabric off of Facebook Marketplace. I got 14 yards of very nice fabric for only $30, and it was still like completely brand new on the roll in the package. So that was really exciting. So I had a whole bunch of extra fabric that I could work with. So I decided to make 2 different covers for these cushions. I have one cover that's on the inside of the cushion to kind of keep the shape so that the inside of the cushion is like one whole piece that has its own cover. And then I made with the nicer upholstery fabric that matches the back pillows that I had already covered. I made a slip cover that goes over the top of the bottom part of the cushion. So that way, if I want to take off the cover and wash it or replace it, the actual cushions are intact and covered and complete in their own way. So I'm gonna start off with how I made the first cover of the cushion. Now you could use this and you could just do this method for the main cover. You don't have to do 2 covers like I did. This first cover I made with a little bit of a different method than the second cover. It's a little bit simpler in some ways. It's a little bit easier to sew because it's really just sewing a few straight lines. You don't have to worry about going around any corners or anything like that. In the second cover I did, it's a little bit more complicated. So, first of all, the bolt of fabric is, I think, 53 or 58 inches wide, which is, I think, a really common size. I wanted the fabric to wrap all the way around the cushion and overlap about 4 inches in the back. I needed to add a strip of fabric to make the bolt wide enough to go all the way around the cushion and overlap in the back. So I just cut out 3 strips at once, because if you're going to be doing things that are like a multiple, say you're covering 5 cushions, then you should cut out all the pieces of fabric at the same time. That way you only have to measure one time and you could just fold the fabric over and cut it out, and then you have identical pieces that are going to all be the same size and all match, and it makes it really easy to do it that way. So I cut out 3 strips and then I laid the fabric down on the floor and I put the cushion just right on top of the fabric, and then I wrapped it around, and then I just cut it so that it had about 5 inches extra to make sure that there was enough fabric for me to be able to sew and it to be able to cover each edge. I was trying really hard to make sure to use the least amount of fabric possible because I only bought 7 yards of the really nice fabric, and I was kind of using this cheap fabric and this first cover as a kind of a test run to make sure that I could do it all with only 7 yards, even though I had way more than that in this fabric, and I didn't really need to do that. I sewed 2 pieces together and then I sewed that onto the back. So you could just do a long strip if you have enough fabric and you're not worried about it, but I sewed 2 pieces together to try to save on fabric, so that's why there's a seam. So I just sewed along the edge there, and then I had a wide enough piece of fabric to wrap around the entire cushion. The next thing I did was wrap the fabric around the cushion, and then I just did 2 stitches right along the edge to make sure that it was nice and tight in the right spot. And then I did a long stitch just along the end to really make sure that it was tight on there. This is a great way to do it where you don't even have to measure anything. It's like super simple. I just wrapped it around and I like basically hand sewed it on to the cushion. I don't like using pins. I find them to be really annoying. I worry about spilling them. I always poke myself. I just like to hand sew onto the fabric, especially when you're doing an upholstery project and you're going to be putting things on and taking things off. Make sure to use a thread that's a pretty obvious color. If you use a thread that's really similar color to the fabric, it might be hard to kind of see where you stitched and follow along on that line. So in order to do the boxed corners, now I find the simplest way to do this is to just put the cover back on the cushion when the fabric's inside out. You just sew along each corner, take it off, just stitch it up, and then it will be perfect. You could also do it where you could measure the height of the cushion and then fold the fabric over so it's like a triangle, but you gotta really make sure that those center points really line up when you do it that way. I find it simpler to just sew it straight onto the cushion. Once I have this whole first cover made, I just put it on to the cushion, and that is basically as easy as it is. And then I sewed a Velcro on the back. For this one, I wanted to save Velcro. Velcro is kind of expensive, so I wanted to use as little as possible. So I just did like little 4-inch pieces, and I did one on the edge, and one in the middle, and that worked great. So the entire time I was working on the cushion cover that goes underneath, I was waiting for the actual fabric to come in the mail. I ordered the fabric for the back pillows a long time ago, like a year ago, and I covered those when we first got the couch, and I went on Amazon to reorder the fabric, and the fabric was no longer available. So I looked all over on the internet to try to find this fabric and to find something that at least matched close enough. I will link where I got the fabric in the description, but I think it's called like Fabric Warehouse or something. So I was waiting for it to come in the mail, and it was like a few days late too with UPS, and it was pretty scary because I was thinking, well, if it's not the right fabric, then I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do. I might have to recover the entire back pillows if they don't match, and that was a little bit scary. So I found a fabric that I was pretty sure was the correct fabric. It was the same brand, it was the same color, it was the same weave. So it was like basket weave, quartz, like Magnolia Home or something. So finally the package came. All right. It's the moment of truth. Does the fabric match? Oh good, so far looks good. I want to be very careful not to cut the fabric. That would be a nightmare. Yay, yay, yay. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure it's the same fabric. I think it is. Oh, how cute. Look at this. And luckily the fabric was a little bit different, but close enough. It looked great. I was very happy. I was excited. So now that I had the nice fabric that matched, I started making the actual slipcovers. So I did this the same basic way as the first one, but I did the edges a little bit differently. To sew around like a 3-dimensional thing. When you're on the sewing machine and you're stitching along a straight line, so you'll just do the straight line along the one seam, that's the straight seam. Then when you get to that corner, it gets a little complicated. One of the tips that I learned is to just go to the corner. Once you get to that corner, all you have to do is make sure that the needle is down. So you can use the little knob to turn the needle, go up and down, and make sure that the needle is down in the fabric, and then you can lift the foot up and then you turn the fabric and then you line that up and then you put the foot back down and then you just sew along that other edge. And then when you get to the other corner, you do the same thing. Sounds complicated, but it's really not. It actually is really easy. And then for that main bench seat, I just put a long strip of Velcro along the back and made sure that it was pulled nice and tight. Now the second one was a little bit more complicated this way. Now I did not want to have any seams showing on the front part of the chaise lounge. So basically I did it like the other one. I made the back part of the cushion the same as the other cushion cover. I did this all while it was on the cushion. So it's inside out and the cushion's backwards. I folded the fabric over and hand sewed along each edge in a way that there was no seams in the front. So the only seams I had were basically on the corners. That one piece on to the other piece. Here is the final product. This is my beautiful DIY couch. Thank you for watching part 2 of how I DIY'd my couch. I really appreciate all of you for watching the video, and please like and subscribe and hit the notification button. I have another really fun project coming up soon that I'm excited to share with you guys. All right, everyone, that's it for this video, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. So while we were working on this project, a really cute little fox was right outside. So Carl and I went outside and got a really cool video of the fox walking around. So here's that footage.
I just go back. Please don't.